super high.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Big Pat Sports Talk Reacts. Welcome YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all platforms. And yes, I'm a day late, but the New York Giants hired Brian Daboll as the next head coach of the New York Football Giants, and I am very excited. But I'm going to hop on one of the main topics about Brian Daboll when he came here. And it's that our new general manager, yes, we got a new general manager and a new head coach for the first time in a long time, and I think we're going in a great direction. One of the main topics is Joe Shane said, we will work with Daniel Jones. Maris came out and said, man, we've done everything we could to screw this kid up. And yes, I have to agree, Mr. Mayor, you've done everything you could to screw Daniel Jones up. His rookie season, he gets drafted by Pat Shermer. He throws 24 touchdowns that year. The very next year, you fire Pat Shermer, you bring in Joe Judge and Jason freaking Garrett. I think that has one of the main reasons why Daniel Jones hasn't lived up to expectations, because he was going into the offense that had no flavor. It had no scheme. It had nothing to offer. Injury concerns have hurt Daniel Jones. He's played with his main weapons, maybe 4 games? Because Sterling Shepard, Kenny Galladay, Tony, Saquon Barkley, tight ends, Evan Ingram, Rudolph, man, everybody's just been in and out of the lineup, and including himself. One of the other main things is you never gave this kid an offensive line. Let's be real. This kid has never had an offensive line since he's been into the league. And you expect this kid to be great behind an offensive line that everybody and their mother knows was one of the worst offensive lines you've ever seen watching football. As a New York Giants fan, this past year's offensive line has been absolutely atrocious. It's been the worst I've ever seen. And everybody comes out and say, you don't know what this kid is because we never gave him an opportunity to see what he is. 3 years, he's never had consistent weapons. He's never had a consistent run game. He's never had consistent blocking. And I think it's unfair to Daniel Jones. Now, is Daniel Jones proven that he can be a franchise quarterback? No, he hasn't. Yes, he has had mad turnover problems. He's had fumbling issues. And yes, you can make fun of Daniel Jones all you want, but I think it's the right decision to give this kid a chance behind a competent offensive line and to see if his weapons stay healthy, to see what he got in a system. And everybody knows that Bill's system is legit. And everybody goes, oh, he's not Josh Allen. No, he's not Josh Allen. But damn it, Daniel Jones has talent. He's shown you. And we're going to get into this segment from Good Morning Football talking about the Brian Daboll hire, and let's see what they have to say. Let's get into it.
Hey now, we got some big news on the coaching front. The Giants announcing last night that they've hired Brian Daboll to be their next head coach. Daboll, 46 years old. He's been the Bills' offensive coordinator since 2018, and he now has a lot of work to do.
Yes, he does, but Let's get into this quote here from Brian Daboll as he was hired. He says, my immediate goal is to assemble a coaching staff, a strong staff that emphasizes teaching and collaboration and making sure our players are put in the position to be their best and ultimately win games. That's why all of us do this, to teach, to be successful, to develop talent, and to win. I have a pretty good idea where our fan base is feeling feelings are right now, and I get it. I promise we will work our tails off to put a team on the field that you will be proud to support and give us the results we all want. Now, a lot of Giants fans can be like, well, I've heard that before from Joe Judge, and that's BS and boo, boo, boo. What the hell is he supposed to say? Please explain to me what is he supposed to say. That's what a coach does. They put the players in the best position to win games, and they also supposed to be great teachers. Now, rumors are saying that he might bring over Ken Dorsey, the Bills quarterback coach, to be the offensive coordinator, or he will take the offensive coordinator job with the Bills. That's a very tough decision if I'm Ken Dorsey. Because to be honest with you, do I stay with the Bills who've had very good success, or do I go over with Brian Daboll, whose system I've been coaching Josh Allen and has been working? Do I go over there and try to see if I can get success over there with the Giants? It's a very hard decision. And the defensive coordinator spot, a lot of people are rooming Wink Martindale to us. That would be amazing. But I would not be mad if we kept Patrick Graham on staff, because he has working with Brian Daboll before. And so I think this coaching staff is going to be absolutely brilliant no matter who we bring in. If we could get Ken Dorsey and Wink, or if we could get Ken Dorsey and Patrick Graham. I'm with either way, either route they go right there. But I like the statement that he made. He came out and said what he was supposed to say. And I will take the approach of the wait and see approach with it. Am I going head over heels for Shane and Brian Daboll right now? No, but I am excited. I am excited for a Giants fan, because this is a new beginning and we haven't had that in years. I think they're doing it the right way this time. And let's see where they go. Let's see how they put this team together. Let's see what they do in free agency. Let's see what they do when they draft. And ultimately, let's see the product that they put on the field. Am I expecting playoffs their first year? No. But I am expecting an offense that will be an NFL offense this year. And I expect that defense to keep pace. And if that happens, who knows? With the schedule that we have this year, who knows? We may be the Eagles this year in the NFC East and making it to the playoffs with a 9-8 record, or a 10-7 record. Who knows? But I am excited for this new regime, and I just like to hear what other people have to say. So we're gonna get back into the video and see what they have to say about the hire of Brian Daboll.
Daboll, of course, helped Josh Allen blossom into the superstar quarterback that we've seen. So the Giants hoping he can tap into Daniel.
I know I do a quick pause here, but Brian Daboll is some of his stats. He's 46 years old. He was a Bills offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2021 this past year. Bills offense top 3 in scoring each of the last 2 seasons. As you've seen, that offense has been absolutely amazing the last 2 seasons. Worked with new Giants GM Joe Shane in Buffalo for 4 seasons from 2018 to 2021. 21 seasons of NFL coaching experience. That's the major part. 21 years of NFL coaching experience. He's not a special teams coach. He's actually worked on the defensive side of the ball and the offensive side of the ball. He's worked with the likes of Bill Belichick and won 5 Super Bowls there as a Patriots assistant coach. He's worked with Nick Saban. Yes, we have heard this before, but I believe this guy has a higher pedigree than what Joe Judge brought to us, and I'm very excited.
Daniel Jones's potential as well. The Bills had a top 3 scoring offense in each of the last 2 seasons. Also of note, the Giants' new GM, Joe Shane, overlapped with Daboll in Buffalo. Daboll has 21 years of NFL experience, 5 rings over 2 stints as a Patriots assistant. So the Giants, they have a new GM, they have a new head coach, and what they're hoping will be new production from their quarterback, Daniel Jones. This was no real surprise after they hired Joe Shane that Daboll ended up being the head coach. But
shout out to the former players, D'Angelo Hall and Robinson, formerly of the Seahawks. D'Angelo Hall, Falcon, and the Redskins. And they got Mike Garafolo on there. And shout out to the young lady's name. I do not remember her name, unfortunately. But shout out to those guys, man. Good Morning Football. They have some good takes sometimes.
Jeezy, take us through how this whole deal went down.
Well, John Mara the other day at the Joe Shane introductory press conference says, we have done everything we could possibly do to screw up Daniel Jones. By that he means turning over head coaches, turning over coordinators, not building a good enough offensive line in front of him. And I know talking to general manager candidates leading up to the Giants hiring Joe Shane, I got their feel for Daniel Jones, and they all basically said, we don't know what he is. I mean, how could...
Exactly. How can you know what he is? The things that he just said, no offensive line, coaching changeovers all day. You haven't helped the kid. You haven't done anything to help the kid to know what he is. And Mara is absolutely right. You screwed this kid up. And it's a shame because you're going 3 years with a number 6 pick and you don't know what he is because you haven't put the pieces around him to know what he is. That's a major shame on this franchise for the past 3 to 4 years. We haven't built anything worth to know what your quarterback is. And that is very, very sad. And that's a bad thing to do. To go 3 to 4 years with your number 6 pick and not know what he is because you haven't put anything around him. That's very sad. But times are changing.
Could you? Because his first couple of years, he's getting to the top of his drop, and he's already under pressure. He's already on the move. So
exactly.
There's no doubt this hire was about aligning the head coach and the general manager, which the Giants did not have the last couple of years with Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman, but also about getting Daniel Jones right. And as Joe Shane said the other day, getting Saquon Barkley right. Because if your offensive line is better, your quarterback will be better, your running back will be better as well. So Brian Daboll expected to come in, prop this offense up, get things moving in the right direction for Daniel Jones and that entire offense. That's what the Giants are expecting here.
And that's a very good point, Mike Garafolo. You build this offensive line, it makes the whole offense better. Not just Daniel Jones, but it makes Saquon Barkley better. Imagine Saquon Barkley running behind an offensive line that could create holes for him. Imagine what he can do. Because whether you call him a mascot or not, man, that guy was playing hard last year, and he was getting 100 and some yards behind an offensive line that was absolutely in shambles. So what if you did put a half-decent offensive line in front of him? What if you got this offensive line just the top 20? What if you got this offensive line to the top 15, the top 20? What possibly could Saquon Barkley do behind an offensive line that's doing that? What could Daniel Jones do when he has time in the pocket? Because he's shown if he has time in the pocket, he can get that ball to his receivers. He has a way better arm than people gave him credit for. Is it a Josh Allen type arm? No. Josh Allen arm is special. It's like a Mahomes. It's like a Deshaun Watson. It's like a Aaron Rodgers. Cannons of an arm. But Daniel Jones is not too shabby. I've seen him throw to John Ross was 50 yards on a rope between two people. People forget that. Remember that Darius Slayton throw he threw to Pittsburgh the year before last? Those are ropes, man. His rookie year. He had you guys excited his rookie year. He was throwing some frozen ropes out there. I think this kid, you speed his process up because now he has confidence in the offensive line that can block for him. He's not scared of getting strip sacked all the time because people like Nate Solder aren't blocking for him. Matt Pert, Bredesen, Billy Price, Hernandez, Skura. Come on. Let's see what this kid can do with an offensive scheme. A scheme, not just line up and run curls all day or line up and run slants all day. Let's see what he can do with an offensive scheme. I'm excited for him, man. For real.
Yeah, and I think it's going to take that group effort, right? You talked about Daniel Jones and people not knowing. I get the luxury of watching Daniel Jones when I watch Washington play. And he does give you, he gives you those moments where you're like, man, this dude can play. But you're right, Jeezy, there's not enough stuff around him when you talk.
Exactly. Remember, against Washington, he threw 5 touchdowns against Washington one year. And then this year against the Washington football team, he had over 300 yards and almost had over 100 yards rushing. And he should have had 2 more touchdowns in that game. He should have had 4 touchdowns that game. But one was called back and Slayton dropped it. So that's what he mean by not having the pieces around him. Get him some pieces that are dependable around him, and let's see what this kid can do.
Talk about protecting him from the offensive line standpoint. I like the Brian Daboll hire. I like that he has a relationship with the general manager from Buffalo.
Look at that. Look at that. Nate Solder just giving up the good strip sack. A lot of his turnovers are strip sack. He's not an interception machine. He's not. He hasn't thrown. I don't think he's had a year where he's throwing over 15 interceptions. So he's not an interception machine. He's just getting strip sacked. And yes, his pocket awareness needs to go up. But I think his pocket awareness can go up if he has faith that somebody can block for him. I mean, real deal. Look at the last play that just happened. Nate Soda. Enough said.
Like-minded individuals when it comes to picking the right guys for this organization, because the jury is
Strip
still
sack
out on Daniel Jones. I have seen some great things from him, but I've seen some things that does have you scratching your head. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens with the...
Look at what he's dealing with, man. Look at what he's dealing with. Look how he's getting hit. The dude gets killed every freaking game. Every freaking game he gets killed. I'll be honest with you. This is a tough kid because, man, he should have a lot more injuries than he's had. The kid is just getting killed, man. Look at that offensive line. Look how many Rams jerseys are around him. Look at everybody just standing around, getting killed, getting beat consistently. How can you shine with an offensive line like that? Just be honest with yourself.
New York Giants, I tell you what, that division's got a lot tougher because Brian Daboll is a hell of a football coach.
Yeah, guys. Brian Daboll is a hell of a football coach, but he ain't gonna have Josh Allen with him. Look, Phil.
Everybody that keeps saying that, everybody that doesn't like the Brian Daboll hire keeps saying that. Oh, he had Josh Allen. That's why the offense did what they did. Oh, Josh Allen is the greatest thing since sliced bread now. Josh Allen is an MVP quarterback. Josh Allen is probably the #2 quarterback in the league now. What I dare to ask the fans and the people that are saying this about Brian Daboll, that he's just a product of Josh Allen, what were you guys saying about Josh Allen 2 to 3 years ago? Because as I recall, you were saying that guy was going to be a bust. As I recall, this guy didn't have a game over 300 yards before he learned that system. As I recall, this guy didn't have a game with over 4 touchdowns in that system. As I recall, when he came out, he was very inaccurate. As I recall, you guys saying that he was lost as the Bills quarterback and they should change 2 to 3 years ago. Can Brian Daboll get a little credit for Josh Allen's progression? I think he should. Because it was before getting Stephon Diggs in that system. He didn't even throw for over 300 yards in a game. But when he got Stephon Diggs and that system came into place and he finally learned how to work that system, the dude can't stop from throwing over 300 yards now. He's had probably 10, 15 games over 400 yards and like 8 games with over 4 touchdowns. So something happened. Something happened, man. Because Josh Allen wasn't doing that 2 to 3 years ago. He wasn't. So am I saying that Daniel Jones can turn into Josh Allen? No, I can't. But I know Daniel Jones could be a better Daniel Jones. I know he can revert back to his rookie year, throw 24 to 25 touchdowns in the new system. A system that's actually is a system. So let's see what the guy can do. That whole thing about tearing Brian Daboll down, he wasn't working with Aaron Rodgers or anything. He was already established when he came there. He helped build Josh Allen. Give the man his credit. It's ridiculous.
Phil Jackson wouldn't have been Phil Jackson if he didn't have Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. I mean, what are we talking about here, guys? And Jeezy, I hear what you're saying. Daniel Jones has been to us all.
So you're saying that Josh Allen was Kobe Bryant-like and Michael Jordan-like before Brian Daboll got there? Because that's what you're saying. Because when Phil Jackson got the job with the Lakers, Kobe Bryant was already coming into his own. When he got the job with the Bulls, Michael Jordan was already coming into his own. Was Josh Allen coming into his own when he came to the Bills as a draft pick? When Brian Daboll got there, was Josh Allen already doing what he's doing now when he got there? So that doesn't make sense. You can't compare it. That's a dumb comparison to me. It's not a good comparison. Josh Allen was nowhere near the player he was, is back then. Nowhere near. Stop tearing this man Brian Daboll down or give him his credit for building a system that helped that man out to become the best one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Get real.
Under assault at times, but when you draft a guy 6 overall, you draft him to overcome those struggles. You draft him to
that throw right there. You don't think Daniel Jones can make that throw right there if he had that protection right there? And a system that works, that confuses people? You don't think Daniel Jones could have made that throw right there? If you're saying that he couldn't, you're lying to yourself. Because Daniel Jones has made some amazing throws throughout his career. He's shown that he can throw that ball with the best of them at times. So get real. You let that system work with Daniel Jones. You put a competent offensive line in front of him. I promise you he's going to do some things over here in New York. Now, will he turn into a franchise quarterback? I'm taking the wait and see approach. I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying he's not. I'm waiting to see the product on the field. Put an offensive line in front of him, and we got a run game with Saquon Barkley and Booker if we decide to keep him, or whoever we have behind Saquon Barkley. Put a system in place. Put an offensive line in front of him. Let's get these receivers healthy and these weapons healthy, and let's see what the hell we got.
To be better than that. And I have never seen a game in the last 4 years where
So you mean to tell me Daniel Jones on that pass right there, hell of a game by Gabriel Davis that game and Josh Allen. You mean to tell me Daniel Jones wouldn't be able to throw that pass right there? That guy was butt naked in the end zone. So you mean to tell me if we can't come up with a scheme like that to get people butt naked in the end zone, Daniel Jones can't make a throw like that? You're lying to yourself.
Just taking over the game, and I have seen the talent worthy of the 6th overall pick. And look, no disrespect to John Mara. He's a wonderful owner. And
I'll say this. That pass right there was absolutely a frozen rope down the field. But guess what? We've seen Daniel Jones throw ropes like that as well. Look at the amount of time Josh Allen had on that play. I'm not even worried about what Brian Robinson's saying right now because it's all negative. I can hear it in his voice, and I can feel the energy off of him. It's all negative, and I'm not going with a negative mindset going into this season. But look at that pass that he just threw right there. I promise you Daniel Jones can throw that pass. I promise you he can. Give him time in that pocket and watch what he does. I can't wait to see it.
One of our leaders in the National Football League. But at the end of the day, your quarterback and Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and they just showing all his bad plays.
65 turnovers in almost 4 years. 65, guys. I'm not making.
And yes, he does have 65 turnovers in 4 years, which is around about 16 turnovers a year. I will say this, a lot of that's because the pressure that he gets in that pocket and he's getting strip sacked. Does his awareness need to go up? Yes. But if he has blocking in front of him, I don't think he gets nowhere near the amount of turnovers that he has. Because a lot of those are strip sacks, and yeah, a couple of fumbles of him running out the pocket and getting hit and he fumbles the ball. Yeah, that's okay. You can do that as well. But let's see when he has a competent offensive scheme and a competent offensive line in front of him. You can show all the bad plays you want. Yes, he has some bad plays, and yes, he has a lot of things to work on. Yes, he needs to protect himself when he runs the ball. And yes, his pocket awareness needs to go up. But I promise you, your pocket awareness goes up when you have a pocket. That's the issue here. He does not have a pocket to step up into. Give that man a pocket and let's see what he does. If he turns out to be a dud, then he's just a dud. But give him the opportunity to show you who he is. And I think this quarterback could be a good quarterback in this league with a decent offensive line. He even had a decent offensive line. He's had the worst offensive line in the league. And it's not even close. There's bad offensive lines, and then there's our offensive line. A whole nother level of bad. Just being honest.
Making this number up. These are real numbers. And at the end of the day, you want your quarterback to overcome this stuff. And I know y'all laughing at me, right? And it does sound funny. But I'm being real. I'm being real. Brian Daboll is
It
not
is. Real
having.
talk.
He's not going to have Josh Allen with him. He's not going to have to call it. He's not going to be able to call that same offense that got like 7 guys going out in the route, and Josh Allen is just shrugging guys up off of him because his offensive line isn't that great. That's all I'm saying, guys.
And Josh Allen is not shrugging off guys every single play. Stop over-exaggerating. You just seen that shit there. That offensive line blocked up, and he had a major pocket. He had time to load, lock, and load, and throw that ball down the field. You're going as if we're going to have the same offensive line going into next year. We're going to have the same people going into next year. We're not. These people are going to change that. This regime is going to change that. You will have a point if you knew that we're going to have the same offensive line next year. That's bull crap. We would not have that same offensive line, and we will see if we get some people that can block in front of them and see what this kid can do.
And in 1 year, that offense ain't gonna all of a sudden start blocking for Daniel Jones. And all of a sudden, they're not gonna just start run blocking the right way. I'm sorry. This was not a great hire, in my opinion. I'm happy for Brian Daboll to get an opportunity to lead a team and do all of that. He ain't got Josh Allen.
Man, that's that's a BS take, man. That's a BS take, man. Oh, he ain't got Josh Allen. That dude was one of the major reasons Josh Allen is Josh Allen. Stop with these clown takes. Oh, they ain't going to start run blocking better, and they're not going to block better in 1 year. No, everything is not going to change in 1 year, but blocking better and run blocking better in 1 year, that can happen with different people on this offensive line. We had the absolute trashiest offensive line you have ever seen. At least in my time of watching football. That was the trashiest offensive line I have ever seen. Ever seen. And you mean to tell me it can't get better? It damn sure can't get worse. I tell you that now. How the hell can it get any worse? Please explain to me how it could get any worse. I think it gets a lot better after this year. Especially if we go get 2 offensive linemen in the draft, or we get some offensive linemen in free agency. Hell, we might do both. And you mean to tell me we can't get better than Nate Solder, Billy Price, Matt Skura, Ben Bredesen, Will Hernandez? We had one offensive lineman that was good, and that was Andrew Thomas, and he got hurt. So we had an offensive line this year with Matt Pert at left tackle, Ben Bredesen at left guard, Skura at left guard, Billy Price at center, Will Hernandez at right guard, and Nate Solder at right tackle. All of those guys have gotten marks this year of 6.5 or lower when it comes to blocking. And you mean to tell me he can't get better than that? If we get Akeem Ekwonu or my boy from Iowa, Lindenbaum, a Charles Cross, a Evan Neal, you mean to tell me it can't get better with some of those guys? A Kenyon Green? Are you serious? It could get a hell of a lot better. It could get a hell of a lot better. Y'all need to check yourselves on that stuff, man, because Brian Daboll was one of the main reasons why that kid got better. Josh Allen, quarterback of the gods right now. This is what the media does, man. And they always seem to want to do it to the New York Giants, man. I don't understand it. Like, you've been killing them for not doing this. You've been killing them for not giving a fresh start. And when they finally do a fresh start, now you want to start talking noise about the head coach we hired? This guy was one of the most sought out candidates to be a head coach. Joe Shane, one of them sought out candidates to be a GM. The media was talking about these guys all off season of getting a job. Now all of a sudden, because they're on the Giants, now they're not good hires? Oh, now because Brian Daboll went to the Giants is not a good hire. I wonder if he would have went to the Dolphins, would that have been a good hire? I wonder that. Would you have said it would have been a good hire if he would have went to the Dolphins? Because that's what it seems like to me. Or let's say you would have went to the Vikings. Would that have been good? Would that have been a good hire, or would that have been a bad hire as well? Because you're talking about like he's just going to be a bad coach, regardless. And that's crazy to me. Maybe because it is the New York Football Giants, and it's easy to kick us while we're down because we're one of the most prominent franchises in NFL history. So when one of your prominent franchises fall down, it's easy to kick them in the ass when they're down. I get it. But that take right there, oh, he doesn't have Josh Allen. The run game is not going to get better, and the pass block is not going to get better within 1 year. Bullshit. It has no choice but to get better because you're going to have better offensive linemen. As long as your offensive linemen ain't getting 5.2s as blocking, it has no choice but to get better. So this take about, oh, Brian Daboll is going to be terrible because he doesn't have Josh Allen. Let's see what Josh Allen does without Brian Daboll. How about that? Let's see if he's still throwing 4 to 5 touchdowns a game without Brian Daboll there. And say if Ken Dorsey comes over and they have to run a system that's not quite like Brian Daboll's and Ken Dorsey's system. Let's see what he does then. Will he still be quarterback of the guys then? Let's see. Because his success is due to everything with that system. That system helped that kid out. I don't care what anybody says. People were calling him a bust before these past 2 years. They were. And now all of a sudden, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that has nothing to do with Brian Daboll? Are you serious? Are you guys serious? Damn good hire, Mara. Damn good hire in Joe Shane. Brian Daboll, the next head coach of the New York Football Giants, and I'm hoping he's here to stay for the next 10 years. But we all have to take a wait-and-see approach. I'm not going to do the same thing I did with Joe Judge. I'm just not. I have to take a wait-and-see approach. I have to see what these guys do. But all in all, Brian Daboll is the new head coach of the New York Football Giants, and I can't wait to see the staff they put together. Because if they put a great staff, this thing has no choice but to get better. Will I say playoffs in the first year? I'm going to the side of no. But a good draft, a good free agency, and a good scheme, and a better quarterback with that guy up there in the big screen in Big Pat Sports Talk Studios. I think we got a chance to do something special here in the next 2 to 3 years. But I can't wait to see if this kid can prove everybody wrong. Because it's based off of people don't want to be wrong about Daniel Jones. Because if he does great, then you have to eat crow. Because you said this kid was a 3rd round pick. That's insane. That's insane. No way we take a quarterback number 6 if he was projected to go in the 3rd round. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Just stop saying it. It doesn't make sense. It's foolish. It's childish. And you're just embarrassing yourselves because it doesn't make sense to the people that think logically. Just being honest with you. So, this has been another episode of Big Pat Sports Talk Reacts. Brian Daboll is the new head coach of the New York Giants. And I'm gonna take a quote from someone that I seen on Twitter. Brian Daboll is here to fix the Giants, not Daniel Jones. But eventually, if he does fix the Giants, Daniel Jones could be fixed as well. Daniel Jones, step up, get in that lab, get your pocket presence up, and hopefully put an offensive line in front of you that's NFL worthy. And we're going to see what you can do. We're going to see what Saquon Barkley can do. I want to see Daniel Jones throw for 25 touchdowns this upcoming year at least, and I want to see Saquon Barkley get 1,200 rushing yards at least. Or have a cumulative of about 1,500 to 1,600 yard all-purpose yards. See if we can use him in that Alvin Kamara role a little bit in this system. I'm looking for Kadarius Toney to have a good year. I'm looking for everybody to step up. I'm looking for us to be a team that you just can't come in and laugh at and beat up on. Those days should be over, and they will be over with this new regime. Just got a good feeling about it, but I'm also going to take the wait and see approach. But thank you guys. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We only 67 subscribers away. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and enjoy the content, man. I'm going to keep bringing the heat for you. I'm going to keep bringing the content. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Good Morning Football's tape. Don't like Brian Robinson's tape because it was just a little bit too negative for me. D'Angelo Hall, Mike Garafolo, and a young lady at the top left. Good Morning Football. You always come up with good things. I like the way they do things. But until the next episode, peace. This has been a Big Blue Crew production.